And welcome. I am Kimberly K. LaBoo, CEO and founder of LaBoo Publishing Enterprise. Welcome to the third segment of the LPE Author Chat series, where we are interviewing self-published authors who have agreed to share their journey of self-publishing in hopes that they may inspire others to take the leap of faith to publish their own masterpiece. So today I'm so excited. Our special guest is Myra Jolivet. She is the author of Secret, Spells, and Snake Eyes, and Push Time's Chewing Pepper. What a mouthful. So I'm so excited by these intriguing titles just off the bat. So welcome, Myra, to the LPE Author Chat series. How are you?
Wonderful. And hi, thank you so much for including me in the series. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm looking forward to this. So let's jump right in. And yes. I first want to, let's see, I've been reading the Push Time's Chewing Pepper.
Oh, thank you.
I've been reading that and I'm just so intrigued by it. And I can't wait to see what happens to with Mr. Corwin. You write brilliantly, and just from the beginning of the book, I was just really pulled into the story, and so I'm enjoying it. So why don't you talk about your titles, because I think they are just so interesting, and tell us like how you came up with these titles and what made you write in this genre and things like that.
Well, the title of the first book, Push Time's Chewing Pepper, comes from a well-known Creole Cajun proverb that goes, push times will make a monkey chew pepper. And that means in difficult times, you will do things you ordinarily wouldn't do, or you'll do extraordinary things in times that are not ordinary. And so my mother used to say it, she got it from her father, and it just passed on and passed on. My main character is going through times that she has never imagined or would have imagined or seen before. So I thought that was appropriate. The first book takes her from one life and begins to set her up for a brand new life. And that's why that one seemed to be the right title for that. It just came to me. It took me 6 years to work on that.
Wow.
While I've been writing all of my life, as a child, I wrote little things, plays, I wrote poems. A lot of times when I was frustrated as an adult, I would write poems or stories. For the first 15 years or so of my professional career, I was a television news reporter and anchor. And so obviously I wrote the news. Then moving on into politics and public relations, I was writing anything from speeches to articles to you name it. But mainly in my days as a news reporter, I enjoyed murder mysteries that were brain teasers, not gore, not thrillers, but those things kind of cozy, kind of paranormal, you name it, but where the main point or the main journey was to find out who done it. And so because of that, I worked on it. I got a writing coach. I've had 2 writing coaches. I've had guidance from extremely successful authors to try my hand at it and to, hopefully get more reaction like yours. That's what it was like my trial balloon with these.
That's funny. Well, I definitely got a reaction from me. I'm going to try to show the cover real quick. We try to practice this.
That's great.
There we go. Push Time's Chewing Pepper. So that's that cover. So it's just really awesome. I mean, like I said, I'm really enjoying it. So as a fiction writer, how much of yourself do you bring into your storylines?
That's a great question, because one piece of advice that I got was write what you know. And so most people thought I'd write about a murder in a TV newsroom, but I didn't want to do that particular way of what I know. But here's what I was interested in. There were things that in as much as I enjoyed so many authors of cozy and paranormal murder mysteries, here's what I didn't see. I didn't see the diversity that I have in my life of culture, of race, of that kind of thing. All the friends are generally one race, all the people involved. And I don't know about other people, but that's not my life. Okay. It never really has been. I grew up in Berkeley, California, and so that's one reason. The other thing is that my parents were straight Louisiana Creoles in California. We had a dual existence. We were contemporary Northern California, but at the same time, our father would break into Creole French, and my friends didn't know where he was from. And so I wanted to see a bit of that culture where, you know, I had aunts and old relatives who talk about dead people like they were still alive. You know, I spoke with Miss So-and-so today. You know, there were things like that, and the accents and all of that. I thought that that culture, it's out there some, but I wanted to see it more. So I used it as a backdrop. And my character grew up in Northern California with these Louisiana parents. And she has a second sight that she doesn't really want, but she learns to accept it because she's a woman of science. And so this runs counter to her. But I thought that that might make sort of a rich texture as a backdrop for these mysteries.
Nice. So did it take you that long to write the second one as well? You said this one took you about 6 years.
No, it took 3 years on the second one. But I don't know if I'm just super slow or if it's the fact that, you know, I do work. I mean, you know, I have a day job. But one of the things that it takes a while, as my coaches explain, every genre has a formula or a promise to the reader. So in the murder mystery, there must be clues along the way because the murder mystery reader wants to work with you on the story. They want to solve the crime. So we need clues, we need red herrings, we need those people who appear to be the suspect, and we need to have plot twists that are logical but surprising. And so for me, it takes me a while to go through it and through it and through it, and to really add those elements. And then obviously I hand it in and then I get corrected and then I redo. I'm hoping I become faster.
Well, I can tell that you put a great deal of work into your novels because it is brilliantly written. And I'm not even through the whole thing yet, but it's just, I love reading a good novel. And this just seems to be taking me there. So I was, like I said, drawn in right from the beginning. So you've done a great job with that. And then I started with the other one because I was a little afraid of this title.
Yeah, I guess I have to own up to. Yeah, my main character is Sarah Doucette Jean-Louis. That's a good Louisiana name. And Sarah is a family therapist in the first book. Through a series of events that I won't name, she can no longer practice. So she becomes full-on amateur sleuth where she solves crimes. And so that second book, I use the alliteration because I think it's fun, Secret Spells and Snake Eyes. Every one of those every piece of the title has an element in the story. I'll just say it that way.
Okay. That is just so interesting. So now I will have to go read that one too.
Thank you. I'm working on a third, but I won't finish.
Okay. So do you have a favorite place that you go to do all this writing?
There are a couple of places. You know, when I lived in Southern California full time, I used to go near the ocean. I'd sit like near the pier in Santa Monica, or I'd also sit out in places around Long Beach. There's something about the water, which you know, because you live in absolute paradise in Hawaii. There's something so calming and inspiring about the water. But I've rented a B&B before at Napa, and I was able to write 5 or 6 chapters in that, you know, the beauty of the wine country, because you're basically on a farm that's, you know, surrounded by grapes. And so there's that beauty that I'm able to take in. I have a house in the Palm Springs desert. And so a lot of times I'll write down here. But you know, sometimes the inspiration hits just almost anywhere. And I've learned now, though my mentors have trained me, keep a little notepad, not a fancy one, but like a little cheapie you get at Walgreens or somewhere, get a notepad. And when you have these thoughts of something, write that down so you can capture it. Clever phrases, or you see somebody in the airport and you think, ooh, that's my next victim or my next murderer. Right. You see these pops of inspiration, and you can begin building some plot or develop a character or get yourself some dialogue and write that down almost anywhere.
Yeah, I've done that with the notebooks and also with voice recorders.
Ah,
Yeah, driving, I used to have long drives to work, and so I would make sure that I had that with me because I couldn't write while I was driving, and I would
right.
forget the thought by the time I got to my destination. So I would take the voice recorder with me and try to capture those things so that I could come back and write them down later.
You
So
know,
yeah.
it's a funny thing. A good friend of mine, Jan Buckner Walker, is known for Kids Across Parents Down. She created these syndicated that kids and parents do together. And so she's done a lot of writing, and she's one of my beta readers. She's just brilliant. And Jan told me years ago to start recording, that would help me. And I haven't done that yet. And listening to you now, I'm remembering that. Incorporate that in part of my process.
Yeah, it's pretty good too now because you can just plug it in and have it transcribed.
Mm. Oh, okay. Well, then that's okay. I'm in. I thought I had to come back in old school time, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. So I often hear that to be a good writer, you have to be an avid reader. So do you read a lot, and what types of books do you read, if so?
I do. I read mysteries. I do read a lot of spiritual books. I mean, I'm very much into what's known as New Thought spirituality. For those who, so you don't confuse it with New Age, it's more of the unity church kind of philosophy. It's Deepak Chopra. It's a lot of where Oprah's coming from and things like that. So I will read inspiring books that really are about that greater thing that lives in all of us and how to consistently access it for the things that we want and we want to do. So I'll read those. But my mind candy is mysteries. I just love a good whodunit. And the harder it is for me to figure out, the more I enjoy it. Years ago, I went through all the Agatha Christie. I like MC Beaton. She's hilarious. She's 85, 87. They just started creating a television series of her Agatha Raisin series. She sold something like 200 million books.
Wow.
It's incredible reading because her characters are very rich. Her heroine is flawed and hilarious. I like those. Janet Ivanovich. I've also read Kelly Stanley. You know, there are some authors that I've met and I've been reading their works as well. So there's too many to name, but I really enjoy a good mystery. I don't need the gore, not the blood and guts.
Right.
But the mind journey of, wow, who did this? That. I like that.
Sounds like I need to read more mystery.
So you like that too, huh?
Right. I can't do the blood and gore. Like you said, that's not me. I'm out. I can't even watch that stuff, let alone read it. So,
yeah, it does. That doesn't give me anything to work on.
Right. Yeah. I think I'm more self-help type books or business books. But then I also oftentimes enjoy a good novel. You know, sometimes you just want to escape into somebody else's world and see what's going on and get involved in the characters. And so I really like that whole thing.
That's an interesting point. I was in a workshop last week. Yeah, it's been last week already, where I'm in an organization, Sisters in Crime, which is women crime writers, and there's mentoring by very successful authors. And so when we have workshops, these authors will talk to us about certain things. And one author made the point to us early on that if there ever was a time to provide story, if you have the ability to tell stories, this is what people can use right now. Of course, we're going to experience our reality, but when things can be trying and divisive and difficult, it's a good time for a good story.
Yes, yes. With hopefully a happy ending, but like it's just an escape from all of the, like you said, the stuff that's going on in the world today. Sometimes we need that escape. Yeah. So good books can generally do that.
That's true. It's a journey.
So what advice would you give to someone that's trying to write fiction? Because that's different. Writing fiction is whole talking. So what advice would you give to to aspiring authors that want to write fiction?
I can share what I was told. If there's something in you, if there's a story in you that won't go away, then that's the story you want to start putting on the page. And, there's two types of writers, as it's been explained. There's the planner and the pantser. Now, the planner does the outlines, they outline the characters, they outline the story, and then they build their story arc. You know how you see the arc, the story has to have certain pivotal shifts and certain climax and all that. And then the character has to have an arc also. Your main character has to have some evolution. So there's people who plan that, and they have their rooms covered in diagrams. I do a little bit of that, but then there's the pantser. And so I'm saying this so people can help to identify where they fit in. Pantser is the seat of the pants person. That's the person who sits at the keyboard and it just moves through them. They have a muse or a something, or they just go with it and they let the story just build through their imagination from the page. So my coaches say, no matter which one you are, put it on the page and then get help with the formatting, because it's very important. Well, if you're traditionally published, you have to do this because they're going to require it. If you're self-published, you have to do it as well if you want to get the attention of an agent or a publisher, or if you prefer to stay on your own. Like I know some artists who prefer to have their own business of providing this kind of content. Either way, every genre has a formula and has unspoken rules. Whether you write memoir, self-help, romance, any of thriller or mystery. Each genre, you have to know the rules, because whether a reader can tell you what the rules are or not is not really the point. The point is an avid reader knows when you haven't lived up to that obligation. They know when you haven't followed the rules.
Yeah.
And once someone reads something that they don't like, they rarely come back to you.
Yeah, so true.
So I would say, figure out if you're a planner and go through, look up story arcs, look up all the outlines, those things, and get your plan out there, because you feel better planning if you're a planner. But if you're a pantser, go ahead and put your story out there and then work with someone who can help you to fulfill the obligation of your genre, so that you're doing what the reader really expects. And it really is your promise to the reader.
Great advice. I'm a pantser.
Wow. Well, pantsers amaze me because you keep so much in your head. And so I'm part pantser, but I'm also part where I have to write stuff down, because if I don't write it down, it goes into that, I don't know, that yellow zone or wherever, it disappears. And so I have to do a little bit.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Thank you so much for that. So yesterday, in the moments we have left, yesterday you talked about, during our tech check, something very exciting that you have on the horizon. And I want you to share that one with me, because I didn't press it. I wanted to be just as, shocked and amazed as everyone at the same time. So why don't you share with us what this new thing that's on the horizon is for you?
Yeah, well, fortunately for the second time, I will be on a reality show that has to do with murder. Unfortunately, it's real, true murder. And this particular show is called Murder in the Family. It will be on the Reelz cable network, REELZ, hosted by Geraldo Rivera. And I'm one of the storytellers. Now, the show Murder in the Family will debut November 3rd on Reelz. I'm not sure yet what date my segment will air, but it's about celebrities who have had a horrendous and tragic experience of murder in the family. My segment will be about Kelsey Grammer, who of course starred in Cheers and Frasier and several movies. Yeah. There's one on Jennifer Hudson coming up, and we remember the tragedy that she went through. So that's what this new series is about. A few years ago, I guested on the TV One network, a show called For My Man. And that was about women who commit crimes, and most often murder, for the men in their lives. That was a
Wow.
sad one. And so I participated in 2 episodes in the first season of that series. So Murder in the Family is my second time kind of playing with that. And it's very different. I'm used to news, which you can imagine is very different. When the producers first worked with me, they said, this is not like news. This operates differently. It's taped differently and everything. So even though I had a lot of television experience, this was a new thing. And of course, I appreciate the exposure.
Right. And so was that something that your writing led to, or your journalism background, led to you being able to step into those opportunities?
A bit of both. They found me on the Sisters in Crime website, also looked at my background. So
Okay.
both experiences led to and helped with this opportunity.
That's awesome, because I often tell people you never know what opportunities are going to come your way because you step out on faith and dive into the world of writing. That it's not just about writing a book and then it's over. It can lead to so many other opportunities. I've seen people write books that end up on TV. They end up in
Yes.
stage plays, and now reality TV because of your writing. And it's just this whole world that opens up to the writer when they just take that chance and do it. You just never know.
That's
But one
true.
thing for sure, if you never write,
That's true. And if there's something in you that you're following, you can't help but have an interesting journey in, like the ways that you said, in any number of ways, because it is about our authenticity. If there's something in you that where this story just won't leave you, there's a reason that you're supposed to go with it. There's a certain joy, or there's an experience that you'll have that you wouldn't have if you would not have followed that.
Absolutely. And I remember for me, when I first started writing, I think in 2006, it's sort of that whole syndrome about, when you're going to buy a new car, after you buy the car, you see so many of them on the road after that, because now it's on your mind, it's in your
That's right.
subconscious. And same thing with the whole writing thing. When I stepped into that world of writing, all of these, people rose up to the occasion to want to help me. There was so much information, people willing to share the journey. It's like, where were you guys before?
I know.
It's
I
because
know.
I stepped into that world that, the workshops and the authors and everything just started coming out of the woodwork. And it was a beautiful thing. It's like, I felt like I was part of this secret writer society all of a sudden.
Well, I was surprised like that too when I started, and then you're kind of ashamed to say, well, I'm writing. You feel like, people say, oh yeah, sure. Everybody has a book in it. But the writing community is so incredibly generous. When I first started, when my kids went off to college, Anita Bunkley, I don't know if you remember her and her books. She spent so much time giving me advice. I mean, Roger Paulding, who got a writing guild. I mean, I can just go on and on. Max Regan, my current writing coach. In the writing community, people are generous with information and sharing information. Sisters in Crime. I mean, I was at the LA Times book fair because of Sisters in Crime. I mean, it is such a generous community.
It is.
It is difficult to put yourself out there because, when you write, I mean, hate to go to the old Hemingway quote, but, sit in front of the keyboard and bleed. He, of course, said typewriter.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself out there, whether it's about you or the characters that you have created or the world you've created. You put your creation out there for people to trample over or to enjoy.
Right.
And so it is something that you have to toughen up and have the nerve to put it out there and realize that no, everybody's not going to like what you do, but it's as much of your growth as it is anything else.
Absolutely. So are you someone who does or does not read your comments?
Oh, I read comments. I remember I come from TV news. I mean, I used to do a newscast and there was a woman who would call and tell me every day my eyebrows were uneven. And and then I worked in politics too. So, I am probably the least sensitive of most writers. I appreciate good constructive comment, and I appreciate when, you know, people who are funny with their comments too. But at the same time, I know where to place it, because I've had for most of my life somewhat public careers, and so I'm used to that. I'm used to people saying, you know, if you were only, you know, cuter or whatever, you know, people say things, and so yeah, I just I don't take it too personally.
Good, good. Yeah, the comments can trip you up if you let them.
Yeah.
So tell people, well, first of all, I want you to keep me posted on the when your reality TV show is going to air, because I definitely want you to follow that, because that sounds super exciting. So make sure you tag me when you start to post those things, and then tell our viewers where they can connect with you and where they can find your books.
Okay, my books are on Amazon, and
Okay.
you can just search my name in Amazon and they'll pop up. But I am so happy. I'm glad you brought this up, because after about 3 or 4 bad starts, I have a new website.
Oh, nice.
.com, and it has a blog with some of Sarah's recipes, because I'm just starting it, but she cooks Creole. So family recipes from my family will actually make way onto that page. And that's the other thing about Sarah. She uses her personalized kitchen recipe cards to write crime evidence for her evidence board. So the police make fun of her, but so that's why I have crime kitchen recipe cards that people can get from me as well. But please visit my site. I'm planning to do a newsletter, and that'll just have little conversational things. And I would love the back and forth of the blog, but MyraJolivet.com. And I'd love if people would follow, click in, contact me so I can put you on the list so we can touch.
That is awesome. And I love how your characters are extending outside of the book.
Yeah, I know some friends told me Sarah needs to do a cookbook. I'm like, uh-oh. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of the LPE Author Chat series. It has been a joy to talk to you today. Are there any last words that you want to leave us with? I'll go there.
Well, let's see. I guess I'm supposed to say laissez le bon temps rouler, which is, you know, the Creole, let the good times roll. But
I love it.
You know what? Live, laugh, love, enjoy life, do what speaks to you, do what moves you, and always remember, as Sarah learns, your inner voice, your inner guidance is that spot where you meet your real inspiration. It's good to get opinions, but go within and listen, and you'll hear what you need to hear.
Amen. Thank you so much. What a great note to end on. So guys, again, this is Kimberly K. LaBoo with the LPE Author Chat series. I am the CEO and founder of LaBoo Publishing Enterprises. You can find us on www.laboopublishing.com. Thank you, and join us again for the next episode of the LPE Author Chat series, which is following this one. Take care. Be blessed, everyone. Bye-bye.